With the launch of Season 17, we got Solar 3.0. This is in line with the other light subclasses getting the Stasis subclass treatment with aspects and fragments. We saw Void last season get a ton of different upgrades, making it a very viable pick for almost all three classes, and we're seeing the same with Solar 3.0. Warlocks are able to heal better than ever before, Titans are able to punch everything way better than before, and Hunters are able to be the sharpshooter fantasy that they've always wanted to be. So today we're going to be talking about one of those builds that I personally had a lot of fun with, and that you could potentially use in your gameplay. Now, this isn't going to be used for something like GMs or something super high level, but this can be used for just regular strikes, potentially raids, and other lower, less intense kind of endgame to mid-game content. Now before we start, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other ideas or any suggestions, and I'll respond to them. If you like the video, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Now Solar has a few things to keep track of, the same way that Void and Stasis do. While those have invisibility and cold and freeze and all this stuff, Solar has Scorch. This is a debuff that sets enemies on fire. This can ramp up to 100, causing an ignition. There's a huge explosion that is set off by stacking Scorch on a single target. It is often kind of represented by a huge glowing orb on their head that then explodes and does a ton of damage. Radiant is a buff that gives the player a damage boost. Restoration gives healing for a limited time. Now the main goal / gameplay loop of this build is to throw Scorch, ignite, pop your super, and repeat. So you're going to be just causing a billion different explosions, creating tons of orbs of light, getting your super back super fast, especially since you're using Blade Barrage, which will give you one of the fastest charging supers in the game over and over again, basically making you into some pseudo glass cannon. First, let's get into aspects. This is where the foundation of the build is. We're going to be using 5 slots here, so on your mark and knock them down will be necessary. Sorry to you Gunpowder Gamble fans. We have Ember of Combustion, which ignites enemies killed by your super. Ember of Eruption, which gives ignitions an increased area of effect. Ember of Torches, which gives radiant upon any damage done with a powered melee. This works with Knock 'em Down, which refreshes your knives after every knife kill while radiant. Ember of Wonder, which generates orbs upon ignition multi-kills. And finally, Ember of Searing, which gives melee energy for killing scorched targets. Now for the subclass. We're going to be using Solar, of course. For the super, I personally really like Blade Barrage, just for the set and forget damage. For the dodge, I'm using Gambler's Dodge for the ability to regen a knife charge just for dodging near an enemy. For the melee, I prefer Knife Trick for the Scorch factor that they give. I also like Firebolt Grenade for more Scorch stacks. So purely with this subclass, we can get consistent Scorch stacks, which will then build up to an ignition, leading to one Firebolt, then one Knife Fan throw, causing an ignition. Now with Ember of Eruption, this will be a bigger explosion, which will get more and more kills, which will also proc Ember of Wonder, which generates orbs upon ignition multi-kills. For the gear, Star Eater Scales really makes this build shine. They offer increased super damage if you pick up orbs before popping the super. This effect maxes out at 8. Combining this with an Explosive Light Heavy that also gets stronger with orbs, you can deal huge amounts of damage practically for free. For the rest of the armor, we're looking at a stat split heavily spec'd into Intellect and Resilience for that fat 40% damage resistance you can get. If you don't have super high stat rolled armor, that's okay too. I have a guide on that which will be linked for anybody interested in farming for high stat rolled armor. It's also pretty worth it to allocate some stats into Discipline for more grenades, since those will help you build your Scorch stacks. Mods are also important here. We can get some free regen buffs through relatively low effort. With the perk Explosive Well Maker, you're able to generate solar wells by getting Solar Explosion multi-kills, also known as ignitions. Now we can then turn these wells into free grenade and super energy. First, let's get the grenade energy source. The mod Well of Ordnance gives us increased grenade energy for grabbing a solar well. This is a solar mod too, so you'll have to use at least 2 solar armor pieces to run Well Maker and Well of Ordnance. For super energy, you can use Font of Wisdom for increased super regen after grabbing a well matching your subclass. This one is neutral, so you can use it on any element. Now the only thing that's needed is the orb generation. We can accomplish this by using the mod Harmonic Siphon, which reads, rapid weapon final blows with damage matching your subclass type create an orb of power, which means that any solar weapon double kills we get will lead to you getting orbs of power, charging both your super and heavy damage. My personal favorite solar legendary primary pick has been Callus Mini Tool. There's a solar SMG that can roll with the perk Incandescent, which causes targets to spread Scorch upon kill, which helps with our ignitions, by the way. Dado has a really good god roll guide on his channel, which will be linked in the description. That's basically all there is to the build. As I said before, the loop here is to Scorch, Ignite, and collect free ability energy, all just to repeat it again. With this, you'll be able to crush any low-level content with remarkable ease, all while making funny explosions and lighting up the screen with flames. You know, who doesn't love being a walking nuke? Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. Please let me know what you've been using in the comments. I'll let the gameplay run if you want more of an example, and remember to drink some water.
Sepix Prime cast a great shadow over our city. With its destruction, the fall...